Your social media followers miss almost everything that you post. Now, if you're using these platforms for business, this is a serious problem because when it comes time to offer your products and services to your audience, the message won't get through. And if you don't do anything about it now, while you still can, the audience you've worked so hard to build trust with will slowly slip away, and you'll have to keep working even harder to find new people all over again. So how do we fix it? And can we use these algorithms to our advantage? I've spent years building audiences on different platforms for different businesses, and the ones that made lots of money had one strategy in common. And in this video, I'm going to lay it out for you. Today we're covering why is it happening, what can we do about it, and 3, a superior solution. So let's get some fundamental understanding. Our connections with our audience, they're all third party. They're all owned by somebody else. Now, all social media algorithms are hyper optimized, but for what? Here's what these algorithms are really trying to do. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, doesn't matter. They're all roughly trying to do the same thing. These platforms make money selling ads. The platforms need to figure out what stuff you, as a user, what stuff you like, so it can build its hidden profile. It doesn't matter how often you use these platforms, they're building one anyway, based on your user information and things that you interact with. So these algorithms are incentivized to show you new things all the time to stimulate new attention. That's what it's trying to do. Why is it trying to do this? It's trying to build a profile of its users. And with this profile, it's tagging us with interests so that it can know who to serve the ads to. Meaning, once they see that, let's say, for example, you engage with a craft burger account, they can tag you that you like craft burgers. It could be local, it could just be in general. But now they're going to want to start serving you similar content. So they might serve you tacos or maybe craft beer. And then if you engage with that content, they can tag you as you like craft beer as well. They start building this profile. Now, this never stops because we change. As we change month to month, as the year rolls on, our interests change. So the hidden profile of you needs to change also. So this never, ever stops. And if Facebook knows that you're about to spend 4 minutes in the morning before you get into your car and drive off to work, it has an average of when it knows when you're probably going to use the app. It knows it's got about 4 minutes to serve you things, to show you things. It has to give you just enough stuff to make you enjoy yourself. But it's trying more than anything to use those 4 minutes to be able to tag you, to figure out what content you like. So it's going to show you things that you may not have subscribed to, that you may not have any interest in, but if you just scroll past it, it knows not to tag you. If you engage with it, it now knows you might like ads for this, but there's simply not enough time in your 4 minutes to serve you all the things it knows you're going to like because they're your friends, you follow them, etc., and get the information. So it's going to get the information that it wants. That's the way it works. If you've ever noticed that you scroll Facebook long enough, you'll eventually see all the things you want to see. So what does this mean for our subscribers, our followers? Basically, once someone sees some of your content and decides to subscribe or follow, the job of that content is kind of done. Once your new follower or subscriber has been tagged as someone who likes your type of thing, the value of the rest of your content to the platform for that follower is lower because the platform already knows that they like it. So this is why you get a new follower and they don't necessarily see your things, because it's not in the interest of the platform to show them more content because they already have that information now. They already know to be able to serve them those kinds of ads. Now, there is the other side of the algorithm's task, and that is to keep the users happy and on the platform for as many minutes as possible. So it's going to keep serving stuff, of course, over time, but it's trying to find the limit. How much can we not give them what they want to test? That's what it's constantly trying to do. And this is also where there's an opportunity for growth, because if an algorithm is trying to figure out what your new follower likes, that means that you can use the algorithms to find perfect customers for yourself if you simply know what kind of content to post. So now that you understand the motivations of these companies and what's really happening behind the scenes with the algorithm, you're more empowered to make better decisions. And the bottom line is this: you need to make a decision. Either take the path to become a creator or an influencer, to go for big numbers, go all in on making content. If you go down that path, you've got the ability to be able to be in front of your audience more often because you'll just have way better content and you'll be doing it more often. And you might like that. You might want that. And if that's the case, that's the path you should go all in on. Or you take the path of the business owner. It's easy to get caught up in the problem right in front of us and miss the big picture completely, which is to say that it doesn't really matter what others choose to do with their companies and their platforms. What ultimately matters is that your audience hears from you when you want to talk to them. That's really all that matters. There are small hacks that we could use to improve things and stave off the inevitable. But the reality is we need a bigger solution to the bigger problem. We need to communicate with our audience and help them become customers. So what can we do about it? Well, third-party connections can and will be throttled outside of our control. That's going to happen. Therefore, we must cultivate our own garden. Social networks are great for the upside. Growing fast, the chance of going viral, finding new customers. They're really good at doing that. But social networks are not good for communicating with your audience over time. There may be another platform that comes out, and there'll be a window of time where you'll be able to grow really fast and communicate really well. But the moment ads come into the mix, that's all gone. So let's shift our thinking from followers and subscribers to audience. So the thinking is we take these different social media audiences that we've built and we migrate them to what we consider as our audience, your audience. So these audiences overlap, but it still leaves us with a challenge. How do we have confidence we can communicate with our audience? So there are two ways to really do this. The first one is to be everywhere all the time. This gives you a better chance to be seen all the time. The second is to build a hub for your core audience to live and treat social like entry points to that hub. Now, if you're only going to do one thing to solve this problem, instead of being everywhere, leave that for a time when you've got a team to help you. So my recommendation is to build your hub on the only list you can possibly own yourself, and that is email. Now, you might say, oh, that sounds hard. Well, just know that this is the game. This is what we're doing. We were lucky that there are these things called social media that for such a long time we were able to communicate for free. That's not the case. You don't own your Facebook audience or your Instagram audience or your YouTube audience. You can lose them completely at any time. Either you make a mistake and upset them, or they make a mistake and there's no way of communicating with them. Or you can slowly lose access to that audience over time, which is kind of what's already happening, slowly losing access to most of your followers over time. So, I'm going to give you a basic structure to make this really easy. Start today by collecting email addresses from your audience and email them. You just email them once a week. And here are some examples. You can tell a story about some client success and you can link to their testimonial. You can share one lesson or topic in more detail and you can link to related content. You could give updates on your offers or on your programs or promotions, and then you can link to those landing pages. You could, and I know Ed from Film Booth did this for years, you could record a video answering questions from customers, from people in your audience. It's a way to communicate on a much deeper level. And you've got to remember, these people want to hear from you. This doesn't have to be viral social content. This could be just like right now, I'm just talking to a camera. You could do exactly the same thing. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to build incredible trust with your audience. So you're going to end up giving them more value. They're going to probably see more of your content, and they can get real value from you from purchasing your products and services, but either way they're going to see you now. Another thing that will start to happen, if you realize that this is now your hub, what you end up doing is changing the kind of content you put on social. So you might get a bit more creative because you're not trying to constantly update people all the time, because your updates happen through your email, through your hub. And this gives you the opportunity to actually grow more followers faster. So if you understand this, that the algorithm's trying to find people who like stuff like yours, you are much more better positioned to create content that has a chance to go viral, that is more interesting to strangers, and you're going to improve your customer base. My final tip to make this extremely easy for you is to do this with a Substack newsletter. Substack is easy to use. There are network effects that are still happening right now. So just by having a Substack newsletter and publishing something every week, you will get new followers through the Substack network of people who like your stuff. Amazing. That doesn't happen anymore on most social medias, but it's still happening across on Substack. I don't care who you use. Use MailChimp, use ActiveCampaign, use whatever. But you control your list. You own your list, and no algorithm can stop you from communicating with your audience. Speaking of newsletters, you'll find a link to mine below. Now, subscribe to it, and you'll see over the next few weeks, you'll experience what I'm talking about here, and your mind will start to see the real potential impact this kind of strategy could have for your business. When I hear people talking about reach disappearing and now we have to pay for ads and things like that, we got to remember that we've had it good for so long. Look, I get it. I understand. It's frustrating. It's frustrating when you spend a lot of time building something and it slowly is eroding away. But as a business owner, as a business person, our job is to create marketing assets that tell our story, that help them learn about us and help them see that working with us is a good idea. So in one sense, we've all been very distracted with social media for quite some time. Now, I've helped many brands and businesses do this, and I've helped them take users from social to their hub and communicate with them. And the ones that do this well understand that all the social platforms could fall over at any moment and they still would have a way to communicate with their audience. Not like the power's gone out and we have to use candles to communicate. No, a powerful way. The people who I've worked with who understand this, fundamentally understand this, and allocate resources appropriately have incredibly successful businesses making a lot of money, and it's all to do with their email list. Social media is a little bit of fluff on the side. It looks pretty, it's something to talk about, something to see, and it makes people feel good. Now, I don't want you to think that at the end of all of this, all I'm trying to do is tell you to get an email list. What I'm trying to say is you should have an email list. You should have a better strategy than using social media. It's transient. It can't be trusted. Use it. Absolutely. Use it to your advantage. Use it to get those algorithms to find you new customers. But when it comes to communicating and engaging with your audience over time, there's nothing as powerful. And with a solution such as Substack, it couldn't get much easier. I'll see you in the next video.